My name is Emmy Utes, and for my Art 100 final presentation, I decided to study and talk about Vincent van Gogh. Vincent van Gogh is a well-known post-impressionist artist. He's very interesting and has been studied by many for several years. First, I will be talking about his early life. Vincent van Gogh was born on March 30th, 1853. He was born in the Netherlands. Van Gogh was the son of a pastor. This made for a very religious upbringing for him. Throughout his early life, Van Gogh had several unsuccessful romantic relationships, along with several unsuccessful job and career opportunities. Some of these jobs included a bookstore clerk, an art salesman, and even a preacher. Van Gogh stayed in and studied art in Belgium initially. He was very passionate about giving happiness and creating beauty in the art that he made. This painting that I have on screen was painted in 1885, and it is called The Potato Eaters. As you can see, the photos and the colors are very somber and dark. This was some of Van Gogh's early work. This was really one of his first ambitious paintings. This depicts some of his ideas about society and peasants. After The Potato Eater, in 1886, Van Gogh joined his brother Theo in Paris. While in Paris, he met Pissarro and Monet. These two artists were very influential to Van Gogh. They influenced his work and changed his style. He now used lighter colors and shorter brush strokes. He was unable to master their exact style, so he made his own. The next piece of art I will discuss that was painted by Van Gogh is The Yellow House. The Yellow House was painted in 1888. This was actually a house that Van Gogh lived in. Van Gogh really loved and enjoyed the yellow colors and thought they were very vibrant. Van Gogh really wanted to turn the actual building into a gathering place for like-minded artists. Here they would bounce ideas off each other. He really envisioned them living and working together in this beautiful yellow house. The next painting that I will discuss is Café Terrace at Night. This one was also painted in 1888 by Van Gogh. The Café Terrace at Night is an example of what Van Gogh saw at night from where he lived. A quote by him is, "The night is more alive and more richly colored than the day." This is a really simple painting, and the colors kind of jigsaw together. The yellows and blues and greens are very vibrant here and work really well together. This painting that was painted by Van Gogh is called The Starry Night over the Rhone. This one was also painted in the year 1888. Personally, this is my favorite piece that I have studied so far. This piece was painted in September. This piece went on to inspire other more famous works by Van Gogh, including Starry Night and the Café Terrace at Night, which I previously showed you. This landscape was just a few-minute walk away from Van Gogh's Yellow House. This piece is called The Starry Night. The Starry Night was painted in 1889. Like I said previously, this piece was inspired by The Starry Night over the Rhone. This is one of the most popular and well-known paintings by Van Gogh, and basically of all time. Most people will recognize this painting and will be able to tell you right off who created it. This painting is said to convey a lot of emotions with the swirls and the colors. The village is portrayed as calm and comforting because it is well lit up. You can see the windows of each building has lights on. Some believe that in his later years, Van Gogh had lead poisoning or another mental illness, and that caused him to use strange colors that he didn't use typically in his paintings. The Van Gogh self-portrait was painted in 1889. Throughout his lifetime and throughout his career, Van Gogh created over 30 self-portraits. This self-portrait is said to be very confident and almost rude-looking in his face. His mouth is turned down in a frown, his face looks very skinny, and he basically just looks pretty unfriendly. Usually self-portraits are conveying an artist's opinion of themselves, so this is very interesting that this is what he saw of himself during the year 1889. This was painted just months before the artist's death. This painting that you're looking at now is called Irises. It was created in 1889. Right before this painting was created, Van Gogh placed himself into an asylum. He tried to not see it as a bad thing, but instead he saw it as an escape, a place to make art in isolation. He was excited about the isolation and the time to just focus on his art and career. Irises was one of his first paintings he created while in the asylum. This painting doesn't show his moodiness and the high attention that you'd think would be associated with being in the asylum. Instead, this painting symbolizes joy. Irises are very unique flowers and perfect for Impressionist artists to paint because of their petals and the way that the flower is made up. The painting you are looking at now is called Wheatfield with Crows. This was painted in 1890. This is thought to be a recreated memory of the North. Van Gogh had gone to visit his brother and his brother's family. They were all very sick. Van Gogh had left quickly as he felt like he was a burden to his brother and their family. After he left, he became very, very depressed. Some see this painting as Van Gogh's suicide note. Others try to take a more positive approach to the painting. This was the last painting that Van Gogh created before his death. Towards the end of his life, Van Gogh suffered from a mental illness. No one for sure knows which mental illness it was that he suffered from, but symptoms include seizures, delusions, and panic attacks. During one of Van Gogh's many episodes, he cut off his left earlobe. He is very famous for this move. He also suffered from very strong depression towards the end of his life. On July 27, 1890, Van Gogh shot himself in the chest. He really thought that his life had become unbearable. He died 2 days later. Today, Van Gogh is considered the greatest Dutch painter of all time. I am now going to share with you some fun facts about Vincent van Gogh. As I stated at the beginning of my presentation, Van Gogh had several other careers before becoming an artist and a painter. He didn't start painting until the age of 27. He is mostly self-taught, though he has some influences along the way. He suffered a lot from poverty and financial hardships, and that was a common theme you could see in a lot of his early works. Next fact. Much of Van Gogh's life was documented through many letters that he wrote. During his lifetime, Van Gogh exchanged over 600 letters with his brother Theo. Through these letters, you can see and read about their lifelong friendship and brotherhood. Van Gogh also wrote letters to his other artist friends and inspirations. Though it took Van Gogh a while to decide that he did truly want to be an artist, as soon as he decided, he was very busy. In around 10 years that he declared himself an artist, he created about 2,100 artworks. This includes 860 oil paintings. Most of his paintings were created in the last 2 years of his life. In 1890, Van Gogh created a painting that sold for $82.5 million in the year 1990. Vincent van Gogh only sold one painting during his lifetime. This painting was called The Red Vineyard. This was sold for 400 francs in Belgium, and it was sold only 7 months before the famous artist's death. Van Gogh was known for having a very strong and difficult personality. He was very hard-headed and often alienated himself from others because of his argumentative nature. A lot of Van Gogh's work has been lost. Everyone thought that his work would be worthless and didn't think it would be worth saving. Here are the references I used while studying Vincent van Gogh.